What's going on, Mixed Reactions? It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. My name is Ian from Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, originally from Southern California, currently in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here with my two valuable, trusted Boston Celtic fan co-hosts, Casey Merritt, Justin Duncan. How's it going today, Casey?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
How about yourself, Justin?
Doing all right. Hanging in there. I'm just trying to not get worried about the Porzingis injury, but I'm not worried about it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Listen, it's day to day, so.
Yeah, it's day to day. Considering he was out all playoffs and they lost 2 games league coming into the finals, I think that his injury is not going to be a huge factor. But obviously, as everybody's probably well aware at this point, for the basketball fans, which is like all of our viewers, listeners, Boston's currently up 2-0. Took Saturday night's game 105-98 over the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, a much more competitive game than Game 1. What were your guys' thoughts on just overall thoughts on Sunday's victory? We'll start with Casey.
Well, there's been 2 games since we've done our show, so instead of just giving my thoughts on Sunday, just an overall, synopsis of the series so far, it kind of looks like Boston maybe just a bad matchup for Dallas. Boston has 5 guys in their starting lineup that can defend. It looks like the role players aren't really showing up for Dallas. P.J. Washington and Derek Lively has struggled as well. He's got some personal issues going off on the court right now, and I can see how that can affect his play. P.J. Washington hasn't been showing up in this finals. Kyrie just seems like he can't get it together against Boston. He's averaging less than 16 points. If you guys take a look at the average scoring list through the course of these finals so far, Boston has 5 players averaging 16 or more. Dallas has 1, and it's Luka. Let's not kid ourselves. If and when Boston goes on to win this series, it's at 0% the fault of Luka Doncic. Do you guys agree with that? 0% his fault.
Yeah, 0%. He's the only reason that it's even been relatively competitive at any point.
Exactly. I can't disagree with anything that Casey said here. Kyrie's been a practical no-show. Derek Lively is, as you were saying, he's dealing with some serious off-the-court issues, and all the best wishes to him and his family. But he's been consistently getting in foul trouble. Game 1, he had 5.
You can tell it's impacting his play.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would make note of, and it's something we mentioned in the group chat the other day, if you're comparing to obviously the score differential between Game 1 and Game 2 was much closer in Game 2.
Yes.
But Boston did not have their A game in terms of their 3-point shooting by any stretch of the imagination. They were getting great looks, but nothing was falling. If they have a pedestrian game from 3, as they typically do, a pedestrian game for them, I should say more accurately, that score was going to be another blowout.
Absolutely.
No matter what they had, no matter what Kyrie did. I mean, people would say if Kyrie scored 20 points or played to his potential, it would have been a different game. Maybe if you also account the fact that Boston shot like crap from 3. But if you give Boston a regular night from 3, even if Kyrie goes off for 20 or 22 points, Boston still wins by 12.
100%. And one thing that I'd like to take away from it, too, makes me feel a little differently about this Celtics team comparatively to Celtics teams in the past. If Boston only made 6 threes last year in the playoffs and played that kind of game, they lose. 100%. They lose that game.
Yeah.
By 20.
Anybody.
By 20.
And so the fact that they were able to stay locked in defensively, and Justin, like you said on the last show, didn't let it affect them, and they took the ball to the basket. I'll tell you this. Jason Tatum hasn't scored the ball effectively pretty much really at all throughout the course of these playoffs, but he's leading the team in rebounding. He's leading the team in assists, and he's playing great defense. He is playing phenomenal defense, and he is rebounding. He is passing. He is staying engaged. And even when it's not like he's okay, aside from last game, right? He shot 22 times, which is more than Luka. He had the most shots of anybody on the court on Sunday night, and they still weren't falling, which is fine. I understand that. You get in those slumps. but he's not being reliant on the jump shot or his threes. He's taking the ball to the basket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just think Tatum needs to settle down a little bit. It almost looks like he's actually, Ian, I'll give you a prime example. You remember how a couple shows ago we were talking about how when Jason Tatum's on, it almost looks effortless?
Yeah.
I think for a lack of a better term, because I can't think of the word right now, it's almost like he's out there trying too hard. The way he's attacking the basket, his dribbles are wild. He's getting stripped a lot, going to the paint. It's almost like he's trying too hard. Yeah. He's just got to settle down and play basketball.
Yeah, and that kind of transitioned me into the next thing I wanted to ask you guys. You know, we're not going to talk about Luka being Finals MVP. We know the only Finals MVP from a losing team has been Jerry West. I think it was 1970. But who do you guys think has been the MVP so far? We've already briefly touched on Tatum. At least after Game 2, I've been seeing 3 names. Well, some people have said Porzingis, but I've really seen Brown and Holiday. Jaylen Brown has been their best player, 21.5 points a game, 55% from the field. Third on the team, ahead of right behind Porzingis and Holiday. 3 steals per game for Jaylen Brown leading the team. Drew Holiday at the point guard, averaging 19 points, 4 assists, 9.5 rebounds per game, and I think that comes. Mm-hmm.
No, continue. I said, yeah, absolutely. Reading stats off beautifully. You're good.
Tatum, and before I ask you guys, your Finals MVP. Kobe, obviously, in Game 7 of the 2010 Finals, shot terribly from the field, grabbed, 19, 20 rebounds, something like that. Tatum has kind of been doing the same thing, like you were mentioning. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists per game, shooting absolutely atrociously from the field. 31% from the field, 28% from 3. But, personally, if I had to choose a Finals MVP right now, it'd be Jaylen Brown, but not Holiday isn't far behind. Holiday has been balling his ass off. Derek White's an effort player. My MVP, though, right now, I got Holiday. Not Holiday. I got Jaylen Brown, but barely. So.
I would say Jaylen Brown right now as well. And I think Kristaps Porzingis deserves a couple mentions, too. Now, granted, he didn't have the greatest game as far as stats-wise from Game 1 to Game 2. But when you're breaking it down as far as the actual term most valuable, it's evident to see just how valuable he is on that floor and how different of a team Boston is when he's out there.
You can't. Kristaps brings the Celtics offense to a whole new level, and there's no questioning that.
I would say Brown, though, yeah. But I agree with you.
I'm actually going to say Holiday. Okay. Because I think Holiday. Well, again, I think Holiday is doing a better. Jaylen Brown is definitely fueling the offense and more so than Holiday. But Holiday is keeping Luka in check, and Kyrie in check for that matter too.
Absolutely.
I honestly think. Not to take anything away from what Jaylen Brown is doing, because he's a man on a mission. He's always been having to feel like he's playing Robin to Tatum's Batman, and I understand why. But right now he's also the highest paid player in the league, and now he's showing up as he's like, I'm the highest paid player. This is why. But I think that the backcourt of the Celtics is the backcourt of the MVP right now. It's a combination of Derek White, Jaylen, and Drew Holiday. It's, again, not taking anything away from Jaylen Brown, but I think that their backcourt is their backcourt alone is what beat the Mavericks.
Yeah, for sure it has. And, you were spot on a little bit with your analysis regarding them being the best backcourt in NBA. Last show, Justin, you were completely spot on with that, and I couldn't agree more. And it's extremely evident in this series that just because Dallas has the best player doesn't mean they have the best team. It kind of reminds me of the Heat and the Spurs in the rematch of 2014, where LeBron was clearly the best player on the court. Yeah, LeBron was clearly the best player on the floor, but it wasn't enough because the Spurs were. Ian, you were talking about how Jerry was the only player from a losing team to win Finals MVP, right? Well, obviously there's been multiple players that have deserved that on the losing team. A la 2015, LeBron against the Warriors led the whole finals in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, led them in everything. So it was clear who the real finals MVP of the series was. But you're right. It just hardly ever goes to the losing team. Ian, I got a question for you. Now, Justin and I both picked the Celtics. He had him in 6. I had him in 7. You had the Mavericks in 7. And you've been pretty firm on that even since the end of Game 2. What are you seeing in Dallas that is either, answer each way you want to, either A, concerning you about your pick, or B, what are you seeing in Dallas that still makes you confident about Dallas in 7?
That's a good question. And before I answer that question, I just want to point out, just in case I don't get a chance to edit it in, it's been a long day. I explicitly stated that I guaranteed in our Facebook group chat that the Dallas Mavericks would win Game 2, and I guaranteed it with the timestamp and everything and the date, and I was dead wrong. So I will acknowledge that. I'm very concerned right now about Dallas, man. For me, more so, does Boston have what it takes to close it out than my faith in Dallas. I think a lot of people would make the argument that Dallas can't possibly play this bad for the next few games. They're gonna be at home. Boston hasn't. Boston is 6-0 on the road in the playoffs. They had those 2 games where they shit the bed in Game 2. It's more so for me. Can Boston close it out? And I kind of still have. I'm never going to give up on Kyrie Irving, one of the best basketball players I've ever seen. But let's just kind of go through the numbers for the Mavericks. Before I go through the numbers, do you guys realize that both teams have each won 4 quarters in this series? Each team has won 4 quarters in this series.
Yeah.
Boston. When Boston's won a quarter, though, it's been, they've had
dominant
a few quarters. We're right where they've been just blowouts. But I mean, Luka. When we were talking about Finals MVP, obviously I wasn't going to bring up Luka. It's probably not going to be a guy from the losing team. He's obviously averaging 31, 10.5, 6 assists, shooting 51% from the field, 38% from 3. It's not Luka's fault.
No.
He is though shooting 46% from the free throw line in this series, 6 for 13. But dude, Dallas has been.
But
bad.
Dallas is a terrible free throw shooting team, anyways.
And that's the next point I was going to get to. I mean, you just look at their free throw line and their free throw shooting, bro. 65% from the free throw line for Dallas compared to Boston's 82%. It's crazy, and especially when you rewind to the last year. Like when you go to when you talk about when they play Minnesota, there was people talking about Minnesota was the best defensive team they've seen in years. Dallas shot 50% from the field in 38%. 80% free throw line. Kyrie was averaging 20%, 4 and 3, and that's 3 shooting 40% from 3. Straight up, Kyrie Irving needs to fucking play better. I'm sorry, we had the discussion a few shows ago. I think last show too we touched on it. Are they the greatest backcourt ever? They're not fucking playing one of their guys.
One of them is, yeah.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving is not playing like it. There have been only 13% of the time in the NBA Finals has a team come back from 0-2. Only 5 teams. The 2021 Bucks, 2016 Cavs, 2006 Heat, 2006 Heat, 77 Blazers, and the 69 Celtics. 3 of those teams, the Bucks in 21, Heat in 06, Blazers in 77, they all came back and won the next 4 games, won the series in 6. I don't see Dallas, unless we see Kyrie Irving turn into 2016 Kyrie Irving, it's hard for me to see Dallas following that trend. They'll probably be more like the 2016 Cavs or the 69 Celtics where they maybe pull it off in 7. But it's concerning, dude. Like PJ Washington, we were talking about a few shows ago. He might be the 3rd best player in the series. He's shooting 12% from the 3-point line. Not gonna get it done. Dallas is shooting, like I said, 65% from the free throw line, and they're going back home. I know American Airlines Center is gonna be rocking. They're only 5-3 at home in the playoffs.
Like you mentioned, Boston's exceptional on the road.
And yeah, Boston hasn't lost on the road yet in the playoffs. And Boston, I don't know, man. It's just I've been firm on it all year, and normally when I'm really firm on something, I picked the Astros in 2017, that whole series, and the Dodgers watch. If it goes to Game 7, Houston's going to go into LA and win. And at the last minute, I backed out. Houston did it. Same thing last year with the Celtics Heat. I was saying, even if Miami forces it to 7, or even if Boston comes back and forces it to 7, Miami's going to win. Backed out, pick Boston. Miami won. It's just one of those things, man. It's hard to put logically because when you look at the numbers, bro, Boston is absolutely destroying Dallas. And, I mean, am I crazy for saying that Boston has 5 of the best 7 players in the series? Obviously.
No, because they do.
Yeah, Kyrie and Luka being the other 2 from
Kyrie's 7 right now.
You said 6 out of – wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, no, Kyrie. You probably put Kyrie in 7th right now, just based on performance of the series, not overall, obviously, but
absolutely
just based on performance of the series.
He's been garbage at best. He's been terrible, bro.
Now let me ask you this, Ian, because you said it in our group chat the other day. I want to see if you're standing firm on this. Even if Boston goes up 3-0, are you still standing firm with Dallas in 7?
Not only am I standing firm Dallas in 7, I'm going to the casino, sparking a Black and Mild, taking my degenerate ass over one of the kiosks, and putting down money Dallas in 7. It's hard for me to see Kyrie playing like this for the whole series. But, wait, can you guys hear me?
So even if they go, yeah, I can hear you. So even if they go down 3-0, you're still standing firm on Dallas in 7.
I don't care if Boston wins.
He's throwing his money away. That's all you're doing, man.
I don't care if Boston wins Game 3 by 50. I got Dallas at 7. The one thing that worries me about that prediction is Tatum still really hasn't had a coming out party. You know what I mean?
No, he hasn't all playoff. So
we hear Shaq, and one thing I don't really like about Shaq, and he's even a bit like Shaq doesn't really watch the games, but he was telling Jaylen Brown the other day that don't worry about useless titles of who's going to be the best player, who's the Batman, who's the Robin, essentially.
That's great advice.
It is great advice, but I mean, Pepper, shut the fuck up and get out the box. I got a box with a replacement computer, and I gotta send that shit back, and she keeps climbing in it. But yeah, I just don't like. It worries me because I don't see Tatum not having one game where he explodes. Like Casey said, he at least he's being aggressive. I mean, I don't think Casey said his exact words, but I think he's kind of pressing the issue a little bit. He's trying too hard. Maybe the lights are too bright. Maybe Tatum, it seems like, has been trying to. With this, 6 turnovers a game, it's like he's trying to have a legacy game. But it hasn't mattered. Well, I mean, Pritchard's only made 3 in the series, but tell me that 3 at the end of the third quarter,
it's a huge one.
That was awesome.
Now, one thing that I want to, because me and Jess were kind of talking about it a bit briefly in the group chat yesterday. What do you guys feel about that call at the no call towards the end of Game 3? I'll go to Justin first.
It was definitely a foul, no questioning that.
No question.
But I do not believe it was a foul that would have overall impacted the end result.
Yeah, and I think yesterday my response to you, it was kind of like, technically, because if he would have if they would have called the foul, I mean, hopefully he makes the 2 free throws. If he does the 3-point game, so technically, yeah, it kind of would have made it a whole new ball game. But I'm just so frustrated with Dallas in this series. Any Dallas fan using that as a cop out really needs to look at just how poorly the team has played. Boston took more threes and made it more threes than any team during the regular season. That trend is continuing in the playoffs. They're still number 1 in both areas. They're still top at defending the 3 in the playoffs. So I don't like the thing about Dallas with that no call at the end of Game 3. To me, it's like you play that badly and you put the game in the hands of the officials. Don't get mad when when things don't go your way because you had plenty of. If you would have just made a few free throws, Dallas could have easily won Game 3 or Game 2. I'll tell you one thing: the only time I actually got excited during Game 2 was because I think Dallas cut it to 7, and then I want to say Boston turned the ball, and then Dallas was running the fast break. That's the only time where I was like, oh shit, I was getting hype. I was jumping up and down like, oh my god, they're about to score. He gets the block, but you can't play that badly and then put the game in the hands of the officials. The officials were not the reason the Dallas Mavericks lost that game. The Dallas Mavericks are the reason the Dallas Mavericks lost that game. And people want to say...
No. The Boston Celtics were the reason the Dallas Mavericks lost that game. They were the better team.
Uh-huh. I get that, and that kind of goes to what I was saying next. And I was getting you guys there said, or Casey said the other day that I hate Boston. You know, is it entirely incorrect? But it like people need to stop saying this is a fluke rig, this is a blah 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 rig. They have to deal with the hand that's dealt to them. I don't care. Yes, Miami had no Butler. Yes, Cleveland had no Mitchell. Yes, Halliburton got hurt for the Pacers. But Boston has been straight up dominant. They've been the only team in the playoffs that we've been able to pencil into the next round. Did I say Indiana was going to win? Yeah, but I'm also a fucking moron, and I said Alabama and Georgia are going to lose on the same day. They both lost by 30. Don't listen to me, mixed reactions. But Boston has been playing great. I don't want to hear shit about this was a lucky rig. They did what they were supposed to in the regular season. They got the right to play at home in the playoffs, and now they're reaping the rewards. I mean, shit, they were able to stay healthy. I mean, and when you have a guy like Porzingis that gets hurt, you know, really good player with Porzingis, and you still run the table and get to the finals that easily, like they're a good team, man. Boston's a really good team. I don't
so I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Ian. You said you're sticking with Dallas in 3, Dallas in 7. My apologies. So, is tomorrow night a must-win for Dallas? Yes or no?
It has to be.
See, it's kind of like I gotta be contradicting myself. I said I don't care if they win Game 3 or not. You know, but I mean, I guess me saying they're going to win at 7, obviously an NBA team has never won being down 0-3. So, I guess
it's not going to happen this year either if Dallas goes down 0-3, I'm telling you.
But
I could see them come out with an explosion and winning in Game 4 if they go down 0-3. I could see that. But then Boston's going to take care of business at home and beat them in 5.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it's a must-win for sure because it's, you know, I mean, hell, look at it. 2021 Bucks is the most recent time we saw it happen. Phoenix was up 0-2, and people on YouTube, Chris Paul's finally going to get a ring. Milwaukee comes back and wins the next 4. Now, that being said, the Boston Celtics are a lot better than the Dallas Mavericks than the Phoenix Suns were than the Milwaukee Bucks. I always loved the Bucks, bro. Just Giannis, just the whole team they had. I always had faith in them.
Speaking of the Bucks, Darvin Ham just returned as Doc Rivers' assistant.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I like that.
He's not a head coach.
He's got a relationship with Giannis and Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton that the other assistants don't have.
Well, apparently they loved him as an assistant. Like he was a great assistant for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, because obviously we're going to talk a lot of NBA Finals during this show. What do you guys feel about Dan Hurley saying no to the Lakers and saying I'm going to stay in Connecticut? How do you guys feel about that?
Before we touch on that, real quick, I want to give some credit to Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah.
The reason I want to give credit some credit to Joe Mazzulla, he's been much maligned, guys. I crushed him after the conference finals loss to Miami last year. And I've been hesitant on him a lot this year as well. He's out-coached Jason Kidd in these finals.
By a long time.
We can talk about the talent discrepancy all we want, and it's definitely evident. Boston's the more talented team overall. But what a smart decision it was by Joe Mazzulla, even when Porzingis was back, to put him on the bench. He has used his timeouts brilliantly. Anytime Dallas has crept back in with a 7 or 8 or 9-0 run, boom, timeout, draw up a play to get to the basket. That's exactly what he's been doing.
Jason Kidd needs to take a page out of his fucking book.
Absolutely. He has been doing a great job this series. I'm not going to take anything away from that. Now, what were you saying, Ian? My apologies.
No, you're good, and I think that's a good point. Joe Mazzulla has definitely been the scapegoat for a lot of people. But Dan Hurley saying no to the Lakers. What do you guys feel about that? He's going to stay at Connecticut. I almost think. I mean, I can double check. I think it's.
They offered him 6 years, $70 million, right?
That's what they offered. They turned it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So they lowballed him, obviously, and the reason that's obvious is because the fucking Detroit Pistons are paying Monty Williams $13 million a year, and also because LeBron wants JJ Redick to coach. So that's going to happen. And I don't think Dan Hurley was ever all that interested in the Lakers anyways. He wants to go back to UConn and get his 3-peat, which they probably will. Because it wasn't for exposure. You know what I mean? He's not going back to UConn so he can become the next Coach K. And, you know, the reason that is, no offense to anyone who's a college basketball diehard fan, nobody gives a fuck about college basketball right now. Men's college basketball is dying.
No one cares about college basketball until it's Duke, Carolina, or
March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's Duke, North Carolina game, those two games in the regular season, or it's March. It doesn't, Ian, we've talked about it numerous times on the show. It just, the past few years, it doesn't hit the same.
Women's college basketball is more popular now. I can name more women's players last year than I could men, hands down.
Like, Ian, did you? You're obviously a UFC fan. God, who's that other team that you like to root for in college basketball?
UC Riverside.
UC Riverside. Thank you. How many games did you watch this past year?
Riverside, I watched a few. Riverside, I probably watched it. USC, it was harder. I probably only watched like 2 or 3 because they're on the Pac-12 network. I don't have it, but Riverside, probably like 5 or 6.
I watched maybe 4 Syracuse games all college basketball season. Maybe 4 to 5 tops.
I watched 3 North Carolina games.
Well, you like North Carolina?
It just doesn't hit the same. I can't even put my finger on what it is.
It's transfer portal. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Because, NIL, and that's a whole, we can go on a whole show about that. I like NIL, and I'm not, like I said, I don't really want to get down a rabbit hole. I personally believe that if somebody's willing to pay you for your skills, why not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit.
Absolutely.
If we had a skill that was marketable, and, we don't because our podcast sucks, but, we would be getting compensated for it. I don't see – like, I could get the argument against it that it waters down the game because you have guys that haven't done anything in college that are getting paid. And me and my dad were having the conversation, like, they're actually entitled to it. But, I mean, if somebody's willing to pay them for it, I don't – like, that's their fucking problem for paying them. And then, obviously, you have all the, overtime elite. You have all these different alternatives now to college. Like, college isn't cool. Cooper Flagg, though, I think he's going to bring some – dude, honestly, I was saying I didn't know if he was a generational talent. That dude is like Holmgren with an offensive game. He's going to be a problem, and he talks shit. He's going to be the next hated white devil. Duke Blue Devil.
He's next Christian Laettner.
For sure. But the thing is, man, and another thing about college, bro, it's one and done. I mean, the women's game, Caitlin Clark played 4 years. Angel Reese played 4 years, I believe. It's different. Like, we get to see the women's teams grow. You know what I mean?
Grow and develop.
Develop as a team. I mean, talking about Syracuse, like, maybe those teams back in the day, bro, like, we used to watch Joe Mazzulla's West Virginia team. Like, I was watching them for, a few years. Like, we used to see the teams in college year after year grow. And, Wisconsin, they rarely ever had one and dones. Like, we got to know the player. It's just not the same anymore. Like, I can name, like I said, maybe, 3, 4 fucking men's players. Like, it's just not the same, bro. It doesn't hit the same. It's not, it's
almost like a dying art.
Wait, what did you say?
It's almost like a dying art.
Yeah, and it kind of is. That's a good point. I remember having this conversation with Sean and Ian, many years ago, about what was more exciting, college basketball or the NBA. I've always been firm it's the NBA. Sean at that point, and probably still to this day, was when the college basketball. Because for those who don't know, Sean is one of our former co-hosts. Still got great love for him. The man loves his Michigan State Spartans. So he was always on the train of college basketball is better. Ian, you kind of went back and forth sometimes. You had your moments where you said, college basketball is super exciting. I'd have to lean towards college basketball. But over the past few years, I think you've been more coming around to it's the NBA, and it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, well, it kind of like it's just better, bro. And growing up, that was my big brother's reasoning. Like, the players are just better. But like I was saying, we used to get to watch the college teams grow. And I'm so sick of this fucking NBA players don't care. Man, get the fuck out of here. I mean,
yes,
yeah,
they
maybe
do.
I'm sure there are some of them out there for a paycheck, but dude, like, they play 82 games a year. You play 30 in college. Like, it's different, dude. Like, NBA players definitely care.
Especially when it gets to the playoffs and the finals. Like, you can see it.
They're just better, bro. And the thing now that's made me kind of come around more to the NBA is, like, transfer portal. Like, I don't even know half the players on these fucking teams. Riverside's roster this past year was night and fucking day difference from the team that went to the Big West semifinals the year before, Zion pulling their best player, went to Florida. Like, it's almost like when a team's season ends, you just kind of flip a coin, and not even flip a coin, you just close your eyes and just hope for the best because you don't know who's going to be back and who's not. Because if a guy is too good, he's going to jump right into the portal, and you're gone. Like with Riverside, it's all, with them being because you have low major, which is like Riverside, Santa Barbara, those guys. You have mid major, which is like UNLV, Colorado State. And then obviously you got major, which are Texas, Kentucky, North Carolina, those guys. Like whenever a guy from Riverside plays too good, I'm like, hold on there, Chief. If you play too good, you're going to be gone.
Exactly. No, that's extremely, extremely well said. Let's take a shift back to the finals real quickly here. Obviously, we have.
Yeah, before I have to scoot, man.
Yeah, let's get our predictions for tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
Justin, since you got a scoop.
Yeah, I've got the. It's hard to say because I don't. It's hard for me to see the Dallas just shit the bed 3 games in a row. But I'm going to say this, kind of what Ian was alluding to pre-game, game 2, that the Celtics come at the comeback victory. I'm going to say the Celtics win by 3. It's going to be a lot closer.
All right, originally I had the Celtics in 7. I'm starting to think maybe Celtics in 5. Just to keep my prediction honest, I'm going to say Mavs by 8 tomorrow.
I say Celtics by 20 tomorrow.
You're saying so, Ian, so this series is over then?
No, it's not.
Ian, they're not coming back down 3-0. It's not happening. They're not winning 2 games in Boston.
Not happening, bro.
Not happening.
Yeah, we'll fucking see. I don't know, man. It's just like
You do know. You're a more educated basketball fan than that. You know they're not beating the best team in basketball 4 straight times, 2 times on their home court. It's not happening.
Especially when the Celtics are playing to the potential that they're playing.
I don't know, man. It just seems like every time Boston needs a shot to go in, it does. That's been the most frustrating thing. Why? And I'm sure for you guys, it's been one of the more rewarding things. But it's like, dude, like I've seen Dallas play great defense on some possessions. It's just better. Good offense beats, better offense beats good defense every single time.
Ian, the thing that should concern you the most is Boston had their shit to bed game in game 2, and they still won.
Yeah. Game 2 was their shit to bed game, and they still, and they did what I told them to do. When the 3 stopped falling, drive, and they did, and they won.
Could be a lot different when they don't have that home crowd behind them, though. I don't know.
We'll see.
They're better.
I think that will definitely play a part.
That's fair, but I mean,
but Celtics fans do travel, and they travel well.
Oh yeah, especially if they have a chance to. I'll say it like this: like if Boston wins Game 3, which I think they will by a lot, by 20, Boston fans are gonna show up to Dallas in Game 5 or Game 4.
Oh yeah.
I say Boston by 20 next game because we're not gonna have a show before Game 4. I say Dallas by 23 in Game 4, and then Dallas.
You're delusional. That's delusional.
I think we're going to be talking about the Celtics banner 18 by the end of the week. My next show.
I think Mavs win Game 3. Boston wins Game 4.
Well, let me see. When would Game? Because I mean, if Boston
Game
does
4 is
sweep,
Friday.
Game 4 is Friday. So yeah, and then Game 5 would probably be Monday. Latest, I guess.
It'd be Monday.
Okay, so it's not going to interfere with the greatest podcast ever. For sure. I mean, I don't know, man. I just want this series to last too because I'm so sick of the WNBA. You know the fucking Fever were the only WNBA game on last night, and it's just
only have to wait. We only have to wait about.
No one cares. That's the problem. No one cares.
We only got to wait about 3 weeks until Olympic basketball.
Oh, that's true.
We can watch the USA.
And damn it! And you know what? I'm mad that Justin. I'm not sure if he has to go right now. If he has a few more minutes.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you, Justin. It's been a pleasure.
Catch you next time.
Stay safe out there for sure, bro. But Casey, the next part I was going to get to is, and like we're probably going to talk more NBA Finals. I love the NBA. The Olympic women's basketball selection, Caitlin Clark, was actually left off. And people are outraged for some goddamn reason. I've been one of her biggest defenders. She's a rookie and her shooting percentage is terrible. What makes people think she deserves to be on the team already? Like, she's a rookie. And she hasn't been the greatest. I mean, there are some stats like, I think it was only 2 rookies had ever. It was a certain thing. I forgot exactly what it was, but I mean, she hasn't been otherworldly. Like, I don't see what makes people think she belongs on the team, besides the fact that she brings viewership. But I mean, a lot of those.
It's the viewership. It's the notoriety that it would bring. It's a few separate things. I mean, she's not. I don't know, but if I had to assume, she's not yet one of the 12 best players in women's basketball yet. I'm sure she will be very soon, but probably not there yet. And they do reserve their 12 slot for the 12 best players in women's basketball. Yeah. So I don't think that she earned a spot yet, and I think she'll get there. And just because she's quote unquote the face of the WNBA right now, I don't think that you want to sacrifice your level of depth in a tournament roster such as this just for the views. You're trying to bring home the gold medal.
Now, to be fair, like they'll probably the women have never not won the gold since inception, and I think 96. But no, I'm kind of with you, man. And honestly, and that's one reason why I'm kind of dreading the NBA season being over is because it's I'm not even gonna get into it, but it's just hate and ignorant for both sides. People hate Caitlin Clark because she's white. People hate the other players because they're black. It's just, bro, like, I see people just, a girl complained about a foul last night. Oh, you can't take the hood out of her, but you can take, like, enough, man. That was why the wait between when the conference finals for the NBA ended and the NBA finals was so long, because I'm like, dude, I don't mind watching women's basketball, but it's just not a great product. And I'm so sick of hearing about Caitlin Clark every night. I was telling some people in my group last night, I know you guys ain't hockey fans, but like you guys would really rather be watching this shit than the Panthers, who are up 2-0, by the way, they might win the cup, than you'd rather watch the WNBA than the Stanley Cup finals. It's just, I don't know, man. It's going to be a long summer, I feel like. But
dude, I'll tell you what, though. Have you seen the roster for the men's team?
Yeah. Don't we have Embiid?
Embiid, LeBron, Curry, Durant, Booker, Tatum.
I will say, bro, and
we're going to cook.
I think, wait, what'd you say?
We're going to cook. They are going to.
We are. And we had like a couple. Like, I want to say it was when Shad was still on the show, I think. Like, international basketball is so much different that if we don't bring our A game, we could lose. I mean, we've seen it happen in multiple international tournaments. I know we're assembling the Avengers. Who's coaching this? Do you remember? It's not Pop. It's Coach Pop.
Who is coach? It's not Pop. No. It's
I want to say Steve. Hold on.
Is it Steve Kerr?
2024 USA men's basketball coach. It is Steve Kerr. Yeah, it's going to be Steve Kerr, who's going to be assisted by Mark Few, Tyronn Lue, and Eric Spoelstra. So pretty good coaching staff. Mark Few, for those
Ian, who don't know. You said that we've seen in a few tournaments where we don't bring home the gold, right? Which is fair. But we only don't bring home the gold when we don't bring our very best players.
That's true. I don't know, man.
Like, when we send our best over there, there's no competition.
Different game.
Because granted, obviously Luka, Giannis, Jokic, those are all going to be opposing players. Sure.
2024 USA men's basketball roster. But no, I feel what you're saying, though. It's because we have a roster right now that is so just let me see the actual announcement of the roster. But yeah, the roster we have, bro, is absolutely insane. You guys might have heard of a few of these players' mixed reactions. So Devin Booker, Steph Curry. I don't know, that might be your roster in fact. Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony, Halliburton, Holiday, Durant, LeBron, Tatum, Kawhi, Anthony Davis, Bam, and Embiid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys don't have Olympics. Wow, this is Curry's first Olympics. I could have sworn that he won it back in 2016. Maybe I was wrong. Halliburton's first Olympics, Anthony's Olympics, I mean, I don't know, man. The world is catching up, bro. Like, as far as, like, maybe not to, like, we're obviously going to have by fucking far the most talented team. Not close. Like, the rules are vastly different. You can touch the ball when it's around the rim. Only coaches can call timeout. There's a lot more physicality allowed. Hand checking is, they really kind of turn a blind eye to hand checking. It's not. I don't think it's going to be as simple as roll the ball out and go win. We're going to have to play well. Are we going to have to play our A+ game? Probably not. We could probably, with the talent we have, we could probably win with our B+ game. But I don't think we're going to, like, the world's catching up. We're not going to be able to just roll the balls out there and come out and win. Excuse me. And, yeah, it's just, there are a lot of talented players across the world, a lot of talented teams. The thing is, back, I don't know if you're probably old enough to remember this, 2004 when we got the bronze.
But we had a 19-year-old LeBron and Melo there, and Bosh. They weren't ready.
Young. Well, I think D Wade was really young. He was on that team, but yeah, they weren't ready. But we didn't actually have a program like a USA back. That was one of the things on the Dream Team documentary. It was like most of these other countries, whether it be France or Spain, like they have an international basketball program. Same thing with soccer. Like you bred your team for international competition. Obviously soccer is a lot different because there's not one central league. Some people might make the argument La Liga, English Premier League, whatever it might be, but Bundesliga. But it's like the best play. Like these dudes are the best in the best league in the world. So we should win, but I don't know, man. That's a fucking hell of a team. That is a hell of a LeBron and Curry and Embiid playing together. Like hell, that might even be better than our 2012 team.
Yeah, that's a scary, scary team.
And then you got Booker. It's like, dude, and then Anthony Edwards. We talk about, international ball's a different game. Anthony Edwards killed it this past, what was it?
The FIBA.
In the FIBA, yeah. Like, he killed it, bro. Like, it's going to be tough, man. I wouldn't say tough, but it's going to be, like I said, it's not. If we play a solid international team, France is going to have Wemby and Gobert. And probably Batum and Fournier, who we've seen Fournier kick our. Yeah, I know that's probably not enough, but it's not like these aren't dudes that are dominant in their own right. And plus, because looking at it, high school, college, United States, we play U.S. rules. It's very similar. A big differences still. A lot really similar to the NBA. These guys growing up, they play those FIBA rules their whole lives. We're gonna have a tough time against France, bro. You talk about Gobert and Wemby in the middle. I don't know, man. It's like if we have a bad game, we can definitely lose. But ultimately, I say we bring the gold home. Women's basketball will probably win by 30+ points a game. Like they'll kill everybody like they always do.
Yes. I'm predicting golds for both men's and women's for sure.
They got flag football in the Olympics now?
Yeah, I know. I'm pumped for that.
Why don't we send now? If we're talking about the best talent wins, let's send Bro, what if we got Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, McCaffrey, who watch out, he's gonna be on the Madden cover, so to be determined. Justin Jefferson. Like, what if we got the best NFL players in the Olympics? Like,
it wouldn't even be fair.
Not be fair, bro.
It would not be fair at all.
Like, dude, imagine somebody said, imagine some Italian biology teacher having to go one-on-one against Tyreek Hill in the slot. Like, dude, that would be so crazy. Bro, like, that would bring so much. We would fucking dominate, bro. Like,
I don't think we're going to be allowed to send our NFL players.
It's not fair at this point. Like, I'm sure there's rules, that are specific to flag football, but it's 2024. Like, a lot of the dudes in the NFL now have also played in the 7-on-7 camps, in high school.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So they're used to the non-contact. Imagine, I would really want to see Tyreek Hill against those dudes, bro. There was a video, I think it was, I don't know if it was 30 women or 30 kids, but Tyreek Hill, it was 30 of them had to try to catch Tyreek Hill. He ran past every single one.
It was 30 kids. I've seen that. Now, we did mention that we might want to talk about a little football, and you mentioned flag football. So let's talk about some NFL real quick, Ian.
We might as well be flag football now, shit.
Yeah, you never know. There's a few things that we could discuss with the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers is one of them. He had a little double booking, I guess, because he had something scheduled for today. But also the Jets started their minicamp today. Mandatory minicamp, I might say. And Mr. Blackwell, if I had to present you with a Jeopardy question and saying this New York Jets quarterback failed to show up for the first day of minicamp, how would you respond to that?
Who is Joe Namath?
You would be correct. Now, obviously, he was joking, and obviously he was talking about Aaron Rodgers here, folks. What do you make of that? Is that something? Is it nothing? Or is it a kind of just a fuck you, I'm Aaron Rodgers, I do what I want type move?
I think it's a fuck you, I'm Aaron Rodgers, I do what I want. Now, you said mandatory. Is it mandatory for – it's only certain minicamp activities?
No, it's mandatory minicamp. For the Jets, it was mandatory. He got fined. It already got announced. He got fined. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like at this point, right? We know Aaron Rodgers' pedigree. Like we know he has been. A lot of people would compare him. How everybody. I mean, who's a good example? Like Brady to Rodgers. I mean, Mahomes is obviously in there now, but before Mahomes came along, people would compare Brady to Rodgers to LeBron to Jordan to LeBron. Like,
right.
Right. We can look at Aaron Rodgers and be like, wow, he's a better football player than Tom Brady. The same way a lot of people look at LeBron and be like, wow, he's a lot more talented, but winning and stuff like that. Like that's a whole different debate for another day. I think it's a relatively big deal. I think it because at the end of the day, man, football is one of those sports to where you need buy-in from everybody. You have to be able to trust the guy on your left, trust the guy on your right. He's a fiery competitor. Like I don't know, man. It's tough for me to say because I'm not going to be the one to say that because that happened they're going to have a shitty season. Like I still have a faith in Aaron Rodgers and being able to do what he's showed his whole career, and that's be an absolute baller. But I mean I don't. It's not going to help him endear him in the eyes of his teammates. But it's also a new day and age. Like how do you feel about it? Because I'm kind of torn on it. If I'm going to be honest.
So how my personal opinion on it. I think it's a fuck you, I'm Aaron Rodgers, I do what I want type move, right? Now, do I feel that this particular mandatory minicamp is going to matter come September? No. Do I think it's going to affect the readiness of Aaron Rodgers or the production that he could have this year, granted if he stays on the field? No. But what I do think it can do is create distrust within the locker room. Even if that distrust is just a little subconsciously, and that can break a team in the end. I've got a feeling that the Jets are going to be pretty good this year. Again, albeit Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. Got a feeling they're going to be a playoff team. But something in my head is just telling me I can't see Patrick Mahomes doing that. And that's concerning to me.
And I think that's a great comparison. And then when you bring up Mahomes, you look up and they've won the last 2 Super Bowls. Like your best leader, sorry, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying this. The best leaders are the hardest workers. Your best player should be your leader and should be your hardest worker. I think you have to set the example because, don't get me wrong, man, it's pro sport. It's pro sports. I try not to get as caught up on the little stuff. Like, you guys got to rah-rah as a team. But there is something to be said for, you can't tell somebody to go do something and you're not willing to do it yourself. As the captain of the team, as Aaron fucking Rodgers, you should be eager to set the example for these guys. You should be eager to be like, you know what? Yeah, they can. How much did they fine him?
I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, as Aaron Rodgers, you should be eager to, you know what? They could find me these little peanuts, but I want to win. I want to show these younger guys that there's no excuse for not coming in. You don't think that I'm getting calls from fucking radio stations and fucking play. I'm just counting on a Playgirl, you know, whatever fucking advertisements he does, you know. But I'm still here with you guys because I want to win. And it sets the example, and I think Mahomes is the perfect contrast, like you were mentioning. I can't see Patrick Mahomes doing that either. As much 100%. As he gets slammed for shit that his wife does or shit that his brother does, I'm like, Mahomes, I've never heard nobody say anything bad about him as a teammate. Ever in my life. You know what I mean? So it definitely, I mean, hell, that's why Mahomes on his way to being the best ever, and that's why Aaron Rodgers is, like, do you think shit like this is the reason why he has one Super Bowl ring? Like, do you think ego has something to do with it? Because we're talking about now he's in, you know, New York, but think about how many years he had the best team in Green Bay. He's only been to one Super Bowl. Granted, he won it, but do you think that shit like this is a reflection of kind of why he's only won one Super Bowl and been to
That's
one?
A really good question. If pressed, I'd say no. Just because of how the actual games have turned out. Because there, obviously you can point out a lot of playoff losses that the Packers have had overall as a team, but you'd be hard-pressed to narrow down the ones that would be at the fault of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, because LaFleur back in the COVID year, you know, it was his fault, for sure.
And then take a God, I think it might have been the year before or the year after the Super Bowl. I can't remember. Not even. It could have been a couple of years before. That game at Arizona where they, not even the Hail Mary game either, because that's another one. But the one where it was about like 45-42 or something like that. Like if you put up 40 points in a playoff game and you still lose, that's on your defense. That's not on Aaron. Of course, when they ran into the buzzsaw that was the 2016 Falcons, where Green Bay could not stop the connection of Ryan to Jones. There's been a lot of instances where I wouldn't directly say it's Aaron Rodgers' fault. However, I think that he does need to take a inventory of himself and think about if what matters to him more, especially this late in his career. Because if he can rattle off say he plays 3 more years and he wins even one more championship, he's going to be looked at in a whole different light. And when that happens, you don't have people like CJ Stroud go on podcasts and say that they'd rather have Eli Manning's career over his.
I think that's a ridiculous statement to say, even with Aaron Rodgers. Well, with Aaron Rodgers having one ring, but you're right. Like, it's gonna close the door on bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Because CJ Stroud, I didn't actually hear him say that, but if, you know, that's what he said, you know, pretty much like, let's look at those defenses of the Giants. Okay, they don't even make either of those Super Bowls, much less win without
the defense, 100%.
But yeah, it's definitely going to close. I mean, because shit, look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning didn't win a Super Bowl until, you know, he beat the Bears in Super Bowl 41. Obviously, he got carried by the defense at the end of his career. But we don't really look at Peyton Manning as a loser the same way we did. But, you know, now he has 2 rings. We don't see him as at least I don't hear the conversation really as a career loser. But yeah, I think it's that it'll definitely stop, you know, the delusion of people think. I mean, I think you're fucking crazy if you'd rather have Eli Manning's career over his. Like I said, it's the defense. But when you have 2 Super Bowls, I'm not going to call CJ Stroud simple-minded, but that definitely gives you the opportunity to ignore context when you have shit like that. When he has 2 rings and Rodgers only been to 1 Super Bowl, like you said, it's not all entirely his fault. There's been a few years where the team was just clearly better, like 2019 when the Niners just crushed them in the NFC Championship game. But it's definitely gonna take out the need. It's gonna take out the ability for people to just completely ignore context if he has 2 rings. What are you feeling about the Cowboys? Do you get sick of talking about the Cowboys? And I know you don't get sick of talking about football. The reason I'm asking that is because, dude, you guys have looked straight up dominant at some points. Like, you guys have looked absolutely amazing at certain points of multiple seasons. And then you shit the bed.
Like this. I'm not sick of talking about the Cowboys as a whole. I'm sick of saying the same thing about them every year. It's like I'm watching the same movie over and over again, watching the Cowboys. It's how I felt about the Celtics for a long time too. It's so frustrating to see them be as dominant as they are during regular seasons, just to not finish the job when it matters the most.
To shit the bed.
Last year they had me almost fooled. I was almost a believer because of how efficiently I saw them play. You know, of course, there was a few games here and there. The San Francisco game was a disaster. The Buffalo game was a disaster. So I should have saw the writing on the wall, but I didn't. And that's on me as a fan. I need to see those signs early on. It's like I said, I'm not buying what they do anymore. Until Dallas proves to me that they can get the job done, I'm not buying into the hype. Because I know, well, I don't want to say I know, because that's going to be, that might come back to bite me too. I have a decent feeling that they're going to be pretty good in the regular season. They'll win 11 to 12 games like they normally do. They'll blow some teams out of the water, and the media, because it's what it does, is going to be all over the Dallas hype train again. And what I have to do is keep my mind closed to that and just know I'm not buying it until I see it. That's my firm stance with the Cowboys now, and I'm not changing it. There's nothing. There's not one thing. I don't care if they go 17-0. There's not one thing that they can do this regular season that's going to change my opinion about them until they get it done.
You know, I had a customer tell me the other day, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, what he said. I'm not going to believe the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl until they win the NFC Championship game.
That's 100%. And it's not even – it's – let's put it like this. They could be up by 28 with 5 minutes to go in the NFC Championship game. Something in my head still going to say they're going to blow it somehow. It's going to be the greatest comeback in the history of football, and we're going to blow it. Like, that's how much I truly do not believe in them until I see it. And it's sad because I don't think it's a talent thing. They're clearly talented enough to go get it done. I can't put my finger on what it is that's holding them back. People like to throw out hyperboles, and people like to say, oh, it's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones does not affect what happens on the field. Yes, he's a distraction. Yes, he says stupid shit, but he's not an actual distraction during the game. I don't think those players during the midst of the game, third quarter, I don't think CeeDee Lamb's out here running his route. Oh, I better catch this or Jerry's going to be pissed. I don't think that happens. I can't put my finger on what it is that in the playoffs makes it so it doesn't show up. I don't know if it's offensive play calling, where they run the same 6 or 7 plays that team has been studying to a T, so they know every look that's coming. I don't know if Dak has a tell on a run. I don't know if it's – I don't know. I do not know what's holding them back in the playoffs, but it's something, and whatever it is needs to be figured out.
No, I agree with that for sure. And that kind of goes back, like, do you think, like, how much do you think McCarthy, like you said, you don't know, but do you think, like, do you ever just be like, damn, like, maybe if we didn't have McCarthy, or do you think, like you said, it's
no, because it was the same shit with Jason Garrett.
I think McCarthy's a better coach than Jason Garrett, personally. Not by much, but yeah, I think he's a better coach.
I don't even disagree with that, because I think he is too. But it was still the same shit. It was the same shit with Wade Phillips before him. It's the same thing. It's been the same story with Dallas for going on 30 years. Like,
and see that
they had bad years that were considerably bad just due to lack of talent, which was 2000, 2001, 2002. They were on 5-11 each year. ever since then, ever since 2003, they've had maybe 2 or 3 seasons where they weren't good. Like, they went 8-8 3 times in a row, sure, but each one of those 8-8 seasons, they were playing for the division the final week of the season.
Yeah, and that shows the pure talent of the NFC East. But for me, like an outsider's perspective, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I can't put my finger on it. I don't think that's the problem. Shit, 13 weeks into last year, he was playing like the MVP. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Micah Parsons, probably the best defensive player in football. Like, it's the thing about the NFL, obviously football is too grueling of a game to where, like, you can't have a best of 3, you can't have best 5, best 7. But it's almost like you go to that one game and they get punched in the mouth, and instead of getting off the canvas, they just let the little kids come in and start kicking them in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just can't get up.
It's almost like they let that one mistake. You know what I mean? Like, maybe this is it, Ian, right? So, say you make a mistake in a regular season game, right? You always go, oh, no matter what, we got next week. No matter what, we got next week. So you kind of play more freely. Maybe in the playoffs they just get too tight, and it's tough to say even that's what it is, because the same thing that's happening to Dak happened to Tony Romo.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling, man. And because there's the other teams that you can be like, oh, but your team has at least won a Super Bowl, and my team's never won. So say if you're a Vikings fan, it's like, yeah, that's fine, but the Vikings aren't dominate in the regular season year in and year out and then choke. This is what's frustrating about Dallas. 6 weeks into the season, right? I'm gonna guess Dallas is probably gonna be what, 5-1, 4-2. Does that sound about right? Somewhere around there, they'll be 5-1 or 4-2.
Something like that.
And what's that?
No, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. They'll be 5-1, 4-2, somewhere along those lines. Of course, this is all barring injury. If Dak gets hurt, all bets are off. Sure. But this is all barring injury. It's not going to mean a thing. It's just not. I have to see them get it done. I'm not sure what happens in the playoffs. I can't speak on it because I'm obviously I'm not part of the team. I'm not in that locker room. But there's something. The aura just shifts, and they do not play up to their potential.
And part of it, too, I think, because we look at how bad they shit the bed this year against Green Bay in the playoffs, and obviously when they had the 1 seed back in 2016, like, it comes to a point where it's like you're at home, and once you get punched in the mouth like they did this year against Green Bay, you could start to hear the groans from your home fans. Maybe because we saw what they did when they ended. Oh no, were they the ones that ended Brady's career? Yeah, right.
Yeah, they went to Tampa and kicked the shit out of them. Actually, that was one of Dak's best games ever. Right,
and it's like maybe if they weren't at home, they'd play a little bit more freely. Like, a home court advantage should be an advantage, or home field advantage should be an advantage. In a lot of cases, it is. But there's certain places to where you fuck up a little bit early, you fall behind, and you start to hear the groans, and you start to play more tight. The other team is playing like they don't have nothing to lose. They don't have to worry about people saying you suck when they drop a pass. There's none of their fans there. I mean, I'm sure there are other teams that travel well, especially Green Bay. But you're in Dallas. Like, Dallas is a wildly popular team. I don't think you guys have ever been outnumbered in your own state. Ever.
No, fuck no.
No matter who you play. If you play the Steelers or the Packers. As a Rams fan, that shit happens at least 4 times a year. We're always outnumbered by Pittsburgh.
Dallas sometimes outnumbers teams in their home arena.
Yeah, like oh god, like in LA, it fucking yeah, like I'm sure when they went to Arizona, I'm sure that they outnumbered the Cardinals fans, but it's like as a Rams fan, bro, I have to deal with that shit like 4 times a year. When we play the Niners, if we play the Steelers, it happens. A lot of the times the Eagles outnumbered us when we were still playing in the Coliseum after we moved back to LA. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like that's how I kind of feel about Boston. That's why I'm not as confident as some people as their ability to win Game 7. Which I know you already told me I'm delusional for even thinking it'll get that far, and I know you are standing on business.
No, I don't think you're delusional for thinking it's going to get that far. I think you're delusional for thinking Dallas could still lose tomorrow and it's getting that far. If this series has any chance of going Game 7, Dallas has to win tomorrow. Which I think they can. I think Dallas can absolutely win tomorrow. I don't think they can go down 0-3. I think that's too much. Like, let's put it like this. You said, say Boston wins by 20, right? What if, say the Mavs go up 20 and Boston comes back and wins? Is that too much of a demoralizer for the Mavs?
Nope, Dallas is 7.
Damn, you are firm on that. I cannot.
Dude, it's like...
I cannot wait for you to read your speech, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Have it prepared, writing in that shit that they wrote the Declaration of Independence with. Look, in the font that they wrote that with. It's just like something about them. Like, it's like once they finally get us completely fooled, that shit is going to flip so quick because Dallas fuck around.
Them shitting the bed on game 2, having their worst performance and still winning didn't change your mind. Them coming back from 20 down in Indiana didn't change your mind.
It just hasn't, dude. Like, I'm not going to believe Boston's going to win the title until they have a 38-point lead in a series-clinching game with 2 minutes left or something like that. Like, something about, I don't know if it's Missoula. Maybe it's just me trying to talk with Adrian Spears. Like I said, I don't have any logic. You look at the numbers, and people will call me a fucking crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just something about them.
They're going to clearly like the better team.
Right, but they're going to get us all fooled to where, wow, Boston is really the team this year. And that shit is going to flip completely. Boston's backcourt isn't better. Like, let Kyrie Irving start here. I don't know, man. It's just like, my lingering thing is like Tatum is going to have one explosive game. I hope it's game 3 because he's going to have one game. I think if Tatum plays well, they win. That's what I say. Like, I think if Tatum plays well, he's going to lead them to victory.
But Tatum has played well. He just hasn't scored. Tatum's played well. He just hasn't scored well. There's a difference.
Game 1, he didn't play that great. He had 6 turnovers.
Fair. He played well in game 2.
Yeah, he did. And shout out to him, man, for not sulking and, what he hasn't been able to do with shooting. He really hasn't. Like, 10 rebounds, 8 assists a game. Like, that's doing what you need to do to help your team win. And we'd be hard pressed to say Boston won't be the favorites again. Like, I'll say it like this: if Boston wins this year, they're probably going back to the finals next year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's like
now, I don't think they'd be the favorites next year. I think the favorites next year is either going to be Denver or Milwaukee, though. I think a full season again with Dame and Giannis is going to be something to watch, and I think Denver's going to come back with a vengeance, too.
Dude, not with Doc. I do not. Dude, why is Doc Rivers employed as an NBA coach?
I don't know.
Look at the teams that he, like, yeah, he's had some success. He helped the Clippers for, like, we were real contenders. But it's like, dude, it comes to a point in the playoffs. We saw it in Philly. Fucking choked. Blew a 3-1 lead with the Clippers. Like, it's something about Doc. And then on top of that, they get rid of Adrian Griffin. I think Doc with the 07-08 Celtics was the perfect mix for those guys. I don't think Doc is, like, I just don't see him, man. Like, obviously, when you have Milwaukee with Dame and Giannis, like, yeah, they're great. I don't believe in Doc. I'm not going to believe in Milwaukee until they get rid of Doc. Hell, I didn't even really believe in Mike Budenholzer. I still don't believe in him all that much. I still believe in his ass more than Doc. Doc has shown.
Yeah, I say Mike at least got him the ring.
Yeah, he got him a ring. Like, great. They were healthier. But, dude, they got rid of their coach when they were number 2 in the East. They were like, what the fuck were they? Like 20 fucking 2 and 8, or it was some crazy shit. But they fire Adrian Griffin. Like that I don't really believe in karma, but that's gonna be their karma, bro. It's like they got Doc Rivers, like, because Adrian Griffin, from what I heard, he was the exact opposite of a player's coach. Speaking of Doc, before we get on to the question, have you seen any bit of that show Clipped about the Donald Sterling thing on FX?
Not yet. I've seen clips of it, but I haven't watched an actual episode.
Bro, the casting they did, fucking terrible. Blake Griffin looks like they just grabbed some random light-skinned dude. But he was like...
Is it just, like, from what I've seen, I guess everyone kind of looks fat.
Oh, yeah. No, he said...
Which is weird.
Right. For sure. It looks like they got an accountant to play JJ Redick.
So, speaking of the question, I have it. Let me ask you something, Ian. and this is kind of off kilter from questions that we've had, but due to the off nature of our show, I think it's kind of fitting. Would you rather get $1 million handed to you, or for the chance of $50 million, get 10 opportunities to score a basket on Anthony Davis? Him going full tilt trying to stop you from scoring.
Wait, so it was, would I rather get $1 million just handed to me, or for the chance to win 50, get 10 chances to go one-on-one with AD, right?
And yeah, all you have to do is score one bucket. Get lucky, just throw it up, he misses a block attempt, and it goes in somehow, you get $50 million.
Or I could just get $1 million, no work has to.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
I would probably, as much as my ego would want to say, fuck it, go for the 50, I would probably do the smart thing and just take $1 million.
Because you said full tilt.
Full tilt. Him Game 7 NBA Finals tilt trying to stop you from scoring. And if you don't score, you get nothing.
Right. Man, see, I'm a competitor, bro. I'm like you, my ego, but I'm also not fucking delusional enough to think that. And I do have some dumbass friends like that who'd be like, yeah, well, shit, I ain't go back now from no. You're not fucking scoring on Anthony Davis, bro. Like, if people need to realize, Brian Scalabrine said it. I'm closer to LeBron. Can you finish this?
Than you are to me.
Exactly. Give me the $1 million, because by the third shot that he sends into the 29th row, I'm going to be so demoralized that I'm probably going to dribble the ball off my foot the next 7
times.
Bro,
it'd be the first one for me. Like, I'll try a little up fake, try to hit him with it, and then I do a little shot and he just smacks it back into my face or something. Like, come on.
Rejected by Anthony Davis. Oh my God.
What would your strategy be if you took it? Would you try to he checks you the ball and you just try to shoot it real quick before he realizes what's going on? No, or would you actually try to get past him with a drive?
Are fouls a thing? Offensive and
yes, you don't get a foul shot, you just get a re-go.
Right. And then you have to redo the attempt. Are weapons allowed?
No, sir.
Can I have a teammate?
What would your strategy be? Like, I know you've played ball, but I've never actually seen you play. What are your strengths as a basketball player?
Well, so just so you know, I can't compete with Anthony Davis.
Of course, no, I know.
I mean, I'm a shooter. Like, I got a little handle. I got a little shake and bake, a little umpty dump. That's a good question. I was thinking about my strategy the whole time, but every strategy I think of just ends up with me with the fucking Wilson logo on my face.
Yeah,
or whatever fucking ball they use. I do, but the thing is, even if I shot it quick, bro, like, does he know that I'm trying to win $50 million?
Yes.
And what if he loses? What happens to him?
Nothing.
But it's just another day at the office.
But that's okay. Let's up it a little bit, because he said but regardless, nothing happens to me. But he's going full out, trying. Like, that's the stipulation of it. You know what I mean? Like,
stop him like you would try to stop somebody if this is the last play of Game 7.
Yeah, it's Game 7 NBA Finals for him.
Bro, I mean, that's Anthony fucking Davis, and he's 6'11" or 6'10", 6'11". Like, this is a very
one of the best shot blockers in the league. This guy stops NBA players for a living. Like,
dude, like, I don't see. Like, now, if you were to say like Drew Holiday, even though he's great, I might at least be able to get my shot off. Dude,
no, I think that would be worse though, because he's such a good defender for people like under 6'6", because he's so strong and quick. Like, I don't think we could dribble to it back, like, at all against him.
If he got, I was kind of thinking like throw a fake.
I don't think there's anything you could do.
Honestly, my strategy, like, thinking about it seriously, if if he was, not playing up on the check, but I only get 10 shots. I don't really want to waste any of my possession. Is there a shot clock? 24 seconds?
Yes. We'll go 30.
30. I was thinking about just throwing it up before you said that, but then I'm thinking, like, if he's ready, like, that's not working. Like, that's worse than some of the parlays that I throw down, especially trying to shoot over a 6'11" arm. I would have to gauge I would just have to like a 30-second shot clock. I'd have to back up, try to at least create the separation, which is going to be hard because even if I try to create the separation, he's going to be on my ass. But I'd have to get far enough away from him to where I can make one move and just go. But I'm also not going to be stupid enough to, like, if I get a step on him and
he's going to chase you down.
Wait, what?
If you get a step on him, yeah, I think you were going to say you're not stupid enough to think he's not going to chase you down.
Right. So what I would do here, let me stand up to do this. Okay, got the ball. You know what? I can turn the fucking camera. You know what? Hold on. No, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. But all right, you know what? Fuck it. Whatever. Everybody knows my teeth look like shit anyway. All right, here we go. Because this, I can upload this too because it's an MP4. So check me out. So basketball. Give me a second. All right, hold on, Mirren. I got it. Hold on, mixed reactions. Here we go. So what I would do, get my basketball. You guys ready?
I can't see because I don't have a camera, but I can't wait till you upload this. I want to see.
All right, here we go. So, got the ball. And, you can't see the camera?
Hold on, let me see. Give me a second here.
All right.
Sorry, mixed reactions. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me pull back up Skype. I was watching the Red Sox game while we were doing this. Let me go to my Skype real quick.
Let me zoom out a little bit so they can appreciate the handle. Hold on. So they can.
Okay, give me a second. Hold on.
All right.
Let me get to it real quick. No, I can't see you.
Oh, God damn it! Hold on. I have to turn the background off. What the fuck? There we go. All right. Can't see me? Fuck it. So this is what I'm gonna do.
No, I can't see you.
I get the ball. 30 seconds. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try a little up fake. Hopefully, if he doesn't go for the ball, I'm gonna hit him. Dude, that's so hard. I'm gonna back it out. Probably guard him with my arm. You know what? I could sham God Anthony Davis. So when I sham God nutmeg. So what I'm gonna do? First attempt, I'm gonna try to see what he's biting on. Right. So here we go. Got the ball here. Give him a little up fake. He's a great shot blocker. He's not gonna fall for that shit. But I'll try to see which way he's leaning. He's an NBA player. Probably won't matter. I'd probably take it to the right. See, I had a mean hook when I was in like 6th grade, but I was also playing against 6'2" centers that are probably working construction right now. So, first shot, I'd probably, because it's like he's still insanely fast, so it's going to be hard to get a step on him regardless. First shot, I'd probably go to my right. I'd try to beat him to my right. Obviously, that's my strong hand, and just throw up one of those, what was his name, Xavier Robinson hooks, whoever played for Michigan, and just throw up like a hook. Hopefully it goes in off the glass or something. If he don't fall for it, then I'm going to just have to, I'm going to have to try something crafty, but even then he's going to have a hell of a recovery speed. At least on one of the attempts, I'm trying to throw the ball between his legs. So it's probably not going to work, but I'm going to try to get him beat, or maybe fake throw it between his legs, hit him with a little, like I'm going to have to get enough separation. It's just I'm trying to think of how to do that because I'm not shooting over him straight up. He's 6'11" and he can jump. You know what I mean? But like I said, if I'm able to get past Anthony Davis and just maybe throw up a little, like, I'm trying this, but let me stop. Mixed reactions. There is zero chance that I'm scoring. Give me the $1 million.
Yeah, 170. I would take the $1 million. No question. I wouldn't even think about it.
That was fun. But yeah, man, it's been a blessing as always, man, to be able to do the show with you. I'm gonna try to upload this as soon as we get off of here. I have to set up this work laptop and shit they send me, so it might take about an hour or so. But I'm gonna try to get it up tonight.
No, take your time. The next time that we talk, we'll be talking about either the Celtics are champions or they're one game away. So,
yeah, Wes, that's gonna be a hell of a thing. But shout out Justin. Obviously had to leave us early. Just want to make sure the fans don't forget about him. Obviously some great takes, and I'm gonna post this to the group on Facebook. So yeah, everybody definitely check it out. Casey, as always, my brother, it's been real. Dallas
absolutely,
in 7.
bro. Never. All right. Good night, Mixed Reactions.
Good night, Canada.